Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome, or hopefully welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture. We just started on a new radio platform yesterday, TuneIn Radio. So we want to welcome all of you who are tuning in on TuneIn. Nice to have you here. All right, my co-host DIANN BOEHM is on holiday, and filling in for her is one of our team members. She is a co-host. She is one of our elevated listeners. She's a panelist on A Woman's Prerogative, and she's soon to be an expert presenter on Talking Heads. Yay, fingers crossed. Let's welcome Janetta Barry, The Epiphany Process. Hello, Janetta.
Hi, hello everybody. Wonderful to be here.
3 shows together today. What do you think about that? We have a 4th one coming up.
I think it's amazing. And I've got an interview in between that. So it's really been one of those days. I love it.
It's full on. And, you know, we have our expert correspondents who are joining us from the United Kingdom. It was so interesting. People were telling me that they're watching the Platinum Jubilee and they're just loving Her Majesty, and, you know, they can't get enough. And I think to myself, wow, we have 2 team members who are global broadcasters with decades of experience, who are the British royal family commentators, photographers, the people in the know. And they're here with us. They have taught me so much. I'm so grateful to them. They are friends and mentors. Let's welcome to the program Helena Chard. Hello.
Hi. So
hi. And Ian Pelham-Turner. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Nice to see you all. So I understand that it is getting hotter and hotter over in the UK.
It certainly is. I mean, goodness, where I'm sat at the minute, I need some air conditioning, that's for sure. But it's brilliant. We love it. We need it.
And summer's not that long there, correct?
Well, it's about 2 days normally.
Hi and bye. See you later. So just a quick question before we get into the news and culture, maybe for people here in the States or other parts of the world. What is it that most people in the UK don't have air conditioning? Is it that the homes, when they were built, air conditioning didn't exist? Tell us a little bit more about that.
I don't think really here in the UK we've needed it, to be quite honest. It's always a temperature where it's either quite cold or the temperature's okay. And a lot of the buildings, especially if you live in the old style buildings, they've been built in a certain way which they stay quite cool. So obviously with climate rising and things like that, it's a real challenge over here, I tell you.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
And I think the reality is that, you know, we have 2 methods. If it's warm, well, we keep our windows closed, or I should say, if it's cold, we keep our windows closed, and if it's warm, we keep our windows open. It's a very simple method of you know, deciding how to keep cool and whatever. But I take the point, you know, I mean, America normally is a lot warmer, you know, generally, you know, places like, and, you know, I always remember that the only time I've ever been to New York, and it was in November, and I left London and it was about 5 degrees. It was freezing as I left London, and I was in this very thick overcoat, suit, the whole thing, and I'd gone to shoot a project in New York, and I got to New York in the middle of a heat wave. And the guy I was working with, he was a venture capitalist, very, very wealthy, and he had, you know, huge premises in Manhattan. But at the same time, he'd also bought himself a castle down in Bristol in the southwest of England as well. And every weekend he would fly Concorde back to his weekend retreat and then fly back again. Anyway, so I'd arrived and I started working with him. And I could feel it was like Niagara Falls was inside my clothing. It was so hot. And he said at the end of the session, would you like a beer? I said, I would love a beer. So we go to the rooftop restaurant where we're at. And there's 2 glasses of beer and I drank them both.
Now you were drunk and sweaty.
Yeah, he looked at me in total astonishment. And then he realized that I just needed the alcohol or needed the liquid in the first place. So I don't think the Brits can stand heat that much is the reality.
Well, thanks for sharing the stories with us. I love it. Jeanette, anything you want to add about weather before we move on to the news?
Yeah, I've really battled with the English weather because in spite of looking very pale and English milky, I grew up in the heat of the tropics and I battle with the English weather. So today, this is bring it on. I'm in my element. I'm sitting here. There's a breeze. I've got no. It's like, yes, I've died and gone to heaven. The bestest. Bring it on.
All right. Well, we can't have everyone be happy, right? So I guess it's just Jeanette today. So Helena, over to you and to Ian to share the news with us.
Yeah, well, there's lots and lots going on. There's different things going on. I mean, on a more fun note, I think I was really quite pleased to hear. It was just a snippet of news. Everyone loves Strictly Come Dancing. I don't know, I'm sure people like it in the States as well, but we love it over here. And it's a real family affair. People get together and, just really enjoy it of an evening. But it was really lovely to hear that so Buckingham Palace Ballroom is a possible location for the quarter or semi-finals of Strictly Come Dancing coming up. So that was a nice surprise. And on top of it, there were even rumours of Charles and Camilla dancing on the show because apparently they don't ever miss an episode. And I could well see them doing that after their EastEnders debut, where they were just turned up at the market stall of one of our major soaps over here. So that's a lovely little thing to hear, and I look forward to it. I will definitely be watching, and I hope everyone else will too.
Wait, can I just interject?
Yeah, of course.
Is it possible that we could get you and Ian dancing together?
What in Buckingham Palace Ballroom?
Yes.
I don't know. I've heard that Ian's got 2 left feet. I'm not sure.
Well, thank you very much. Who knows? I might have hidden talents. They're hidden from me anyway.
That's what they're supposed to do, is to give you 1 left and 1 right by the time you leave Strictly. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem at all. No, I'm sure we could get that together. I think so. It's something we need to talk about, Ian, I think.
Do you dance, Ian?
I used to.
I hear that reticent voice.
Yeah.
What made you stop?
Well, you see, obviously, my problem these days is that I think I've got knee problems as well, so I have mobility problems. So I find it much more difficult. I would love to be able to dance still, is the reality. But my mobility issues are I feel like the Queen some days, so I can understand why she suffers so much, because it can be quite daunting at times when these things happen. And, probably like her, you have some good days and you have some bad days on it at the same time. And do I have time for a quick story or about the Queen?
Go for it.
Yes, go.
Okay. There was a very interesting thing, and hopefully this is not one that Helena was going to just comment about as well. is that the very famous picture on the Sunday, which showed the Queen in the green outfit, with Prince Charles and Prince William and Prince George, it almost didn't happen. It wasn't planned to be happened in that particular way at all. And Prince Charles had to call the Queen on the telephone about an hour or 2 hours beforehand and persuade her to come from Windsor to Buckingham Palace so they could do this picture. And so that is the real story behind this very famous foreshot of what, you know, of the future of the royal monarchy. And in the end, Prince Charles persuaded her by saying that in reality there were hundreds of thousands of people watching it on their screens, but even more in the Mall at Buckingham Palace, and that she really should come. And apparently, when she got there and she saw the amount of people, she was quite tearful. She was quite emotional afterwards. And apparently, it's one of the few occasions when the Queen has become very emotional. The last time she was really seen to be emotional was when she saw the relocation of Britannia, the yacht. And so it obviously, I can understand at the moment, you know, the type of body problems that she's got, you know, walking problems that she's got, but it still goes to show as well that she can get emotional and how much she's actually loved this whole celebration for her reign.
Thanks for sharing that story. That was great.
It was lovely. It was really lovely. And I think the thing about it as well is when Her Majesty came onto the balcony, as Ian said, she was completely wowed. You know, she couldn't believe the response she was getting. And it was lovely how she was sharing it with Prince George as well. She sort of opened up and was like really, you know, talking to him, like, you know, amazing, you know, can you see everyone? Isn't this great, kind of thing? And it's just, it's a lovely, that family, it's a family thing, isn't it, as well? I really enjoyed seeing that.
A question that was posed to me, and I'm hoping that maybe the two of you can come on one of our other shows, Loving Longevity, is what are the keys to the health, the fabulous health that the Queen has really been able to incorporate into her reign? I mean, she really is someone that people look up to all over the world, and people are wanting to live longer and live healthier. And we'd love to get her on the show, but short of that, we'd love to find out what is it that she's doing that we can do ourselves.
I mean, there's so many things that she does, and also the help that she gets given as well. Not to forget that she's in a privileged situation. I mean, we do know as well, you know, royal butlers, and I think that probably there's a certain chef as well, in fact, that sort of we've been let into a few secrets about her wholesome eating. But there is a huge amount of things that she does, but also to remember as well that her mother lived to a good old age as well. So you know, it does come down to genes as well, but that's just a few little bits for now, but we can definitely help with reference to the new show. As I think there's lots of things that we could take lead from the Queen, definitely.
Yeah. I think there are certain foods the Queen is not allowed. So things like fish, because they're always worried about fish bones lodging in her throat. I think she's a great believer these days in homeopathy as well. Charles is very homeopathic in a lot of the things that he deals with, and he's been doing this for a long time anyway as well. And I think, you know, that the Queen's daily tipple of Dubonnet lemonade, you know, seems to perk her up no end. As well, and I think, you know, they've been very careful with her recently, and there's a lot of talk now that we may not see the Queen publicly so much anymore, but she's going to become the online Queen. You know, and I mean, it always makes me laugh when a few months ago, and it was during, I think it was during COVID, and all of a sudden the Queen pops up, you know, in the middle of this conversation, and people don't know what to say to her. They weren't expecting her to come on, I don't think, and they didn't know what to sort of say to her, and so she's very good at starting off conversations. Anyway, and talking about different things. And the one thing is she's very knowledgeable on so many subjects as well. But I think she's got this hearty Scottish blood running through her her veins as well, you know, on her mother's side. And I think that tends to you know, towards longevity at the same time. You know, I think she balances her life, but sometimes, you know, until very recently, she's been doing over 300 engagements a year. So you know, I think you know that they've decided to calm it down now. But she will. It's almost. I was watching this thing on the Bee Gees recently, and how they've started doing these virtual reality shows, and we might be seeing the Queen in virtual reality before too long, the way things are going at the moment.
Are we able to zoom in with the Queen? Is there like a sign-up sheet for Zooming with the Queen? I think that would be pretty cool.
There may be a certain Queen that we can do it with, but it wouldn't be Her Majesty the Queen. But, you know, it would be just as good, I'm sure, in a way. I think one of the other things as well that I would say with Her Majesty the Queen, and I think it's also key to success with everybody, is she takes her role incredibly seriously. You know, her purpose to serve everybody, to serve the Commonwealth, is really deep-rooted in her heart. And, you know, she repledged that recently as well, that she'd be here for all of us until really her last breath. And that's so important, to have that purpose. And faith, of course, faith comes into it too. And that really has kept her going, will keep her going, along with her family. And I think that's what keeps everyone quite mentally well as well in normal life.
And I was quite pleased to see the golf cart, the royal golf cart, you know. At long last. I mean, Helen had seen it before, and so it was a surprise to me to see this royal golf cart, and no golf clubs in the back of it, might I add. But yeah, I think there was some lackey, but you know, on the back of it. But I just, you know, it's I think at the moment it's a very interesting time in, dare I say, royal politics. I'm sure Helen will just talk about Andrew in a second now on what's happened there.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's my prompt, is it?
Over to you, Helena.
Okay, what do you do with a problem like Prince Andrew? I think that's probably a bit unfair. Well, Fergie, for number one, it's all over the media at the moment that she would marry Prince Andrew all over again. And it's quite well known that she loves him, and I think he loves her too. So, I mean, really, they are very, very compatible people. And she's been saying he is such a good man. You know, this is what's come out. So we recently have had Order of the Garter service in Windsor, which is fabulous. I'm so pleased it's back. It is the most amazing celebration. When you're actually there to be involved in it, to be working with the royals and various people, and just see it's a real historical celebration. But this is the first one, proper one, since lockdown, so we've not had it for a few years. And obviously Her Majesty the Queen couldn't attend the whole service, but Prince Andrew was in fact going to be at the whole event. And when I say at the whole event, it's a little private bit, which is like a meal, etc. It's like an investiture, I suppose, in the private service. But he wasn't. He was also going to be at the procession, which is a big part of the celebration. just to recap, it's quite confusing. It's even confusing to me. So Order of the Service, it's the oldest British order of chivalry, which was founded in Edward III's time, so roughly 1348, so forever time ago. And it was established to commemorate a silly incident, which was when he was dancing, Edward III, his partner's blue garters sort of dropped to the floor, and it was this amazing sort of situation. It was to the laugh, etc. Anyway, the service has been going for 70 years, and you have Queen and Knights. In fact, they're all both called Knights now. They process in big velvet robes, and they've got glistening insignia and plumed hats and gold jewels, and you see them walking through Windsor. The reason behind it is you're knighted, but it used to be aristocracy, but now people are chosen from a variety of backgrounds as a recognition of public service. So this year, I know that Camilla was given a knighthood. I know that Tony Blair, a former Prime Minister, was given a knighthood. Anyway, for Prince Andrew, he was almost banished quite last minute. It was a situation where he was actually, his name was still on the Order of Service, but from sort of it within the inner circle, and also I did see also in the media as well that it was actually Duke of Cambridge, the Prince William, put his foot down and just said, look, you know, if he is going to be doing that, I will not be there. So he laid the law and said that he cannot be there because he's very obviously aware of people's opinions. He's wanting to continue the monarchy. So it created a bit of a fracas. I think Prince Andrew completely crushed and very confused about the decision. And also sort of, it's a strange one because he's also still a Knight of the Order. So actually in black and white, you know, terms, he should be allowed to be there. So it's a bit of a tricky situation. But apart from that, it was a fabulous ceremony. I wasn't actually at this one. I was at the one, I think, previous to lockdown, and it is a supersonic service. I think the whole dress and the historical feel to it just gives this amazing feeling. It's almost like you're going back in time. And if anyone ever has the chance to ever be there, I would definitely take it up. And Windsor Castle, obviously, as well, is absolutely stunning. So that's that. I think we have a couple of pictures to show the kind of look that people have. Yeah, so that's Her Majesty the Queen, and obviously her late husband. As you can see with the plumes and insignia and the whole gold and the jewels. I mean, this is a typical look that everyone's dressed in, and it's a very historical look. But I think also I think people coming in from abroad as well enjoy seeing this history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's lovely. And I know we have one of, I think, Prince Charles as well with, funny enough, I saw a current image that Getty had taken, and it sort of was very much like this picture, although this was taken a few years ago. But
how much do you estimate that everything weighs? Is it very heavy?
I don't think it is that heavy. I think it is heavy in a sense. Like, you can feel that the cloak is made of a very thick, material. But I don't think like the gold and everything is hugely heavy. I think it's more visual. With the plumes, obviously, are quite light as well.
Is it velvet?
Right. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's really quite stunning, and when you see it all coming towards you, it's really beautiful.
I sometimes wonder though how they keep their hats on their heads, because it's quite windy around Windsor Castle at the best of times, and those plumes like that, it'll be interesting to sometime to find out how they keep their hats firmly on their heads as well.
There's a chin strap. No, there's not.
Oh, there's no chin strap.
No, but it's quite. I think it's one of those ones that it fits on the head still. You can sort of see the kind of hat it is.
It's beautiful.
So
I love hats.
the question I have is, obviously every bit of what's on what they're wearing represents or means something, and the bows on each shoulders, I've always wondered why they're there. Do you perhaps know?
You know, I don't actually have the full understanding of the whole outfit. I just know that every intricacy is very important to the whole look. You know, the insignia, it all has to glisten. The jewels. There is a meaning for everything, and I wish I knew what everything is. It's something I need to research. I'm sure I keep saying that. It's one of those things. It just goes to show how quickly the year passes, and then we're back again to another garter.
Are the royal horses at the event?
There are royal horses. Then there are. I mean, it's not in the same way because it's quite narrow in a sense as you're coming down the procession. But there's lots of musicians, you know, the royal musicians and guards and parades. It's a very visual, but also the sounds as well of them playing. It's yeah, it's beautiful, really lovely. I have lots of pictures. In fact, maybe I should have taken given you some, which gives an idea of the feel of the event, because it's quite a party feel.
Oh, maybe we can do that next time.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Excellent. What other news is there going on over in the UK?
Do you know something that's lovely, and we love Sir David Attenborough. I think everyone loves Sir David Attenborough, and everybody loves him. You know, different age groups love him, and I just love that because obviously he is the same age as Her Majesty the Queen. He was highlighted as well over the Platinum Jubilee when we had the concert in front of Buckingham Palace. And there were some fabulous pictures that were displayed actually on the palace, you know, for all of his work that he's done. But he was recently awarded, this was the other day, in fact, a new prestigious honour, which is a KCNG, which is almost like a double knighthood. It's the Knight and St Michael's and St George's, which is a really special knighthood. And he was given this by Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, and this is for his work highlighting the natural world and also all of his TV shows and campaigning to protect our world, basically. And thinking about it, you know, he's been going for 8 decades, 80 years. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And he's so fit and bright. It just is incredible. Isn't he the most amazing person?
He really is.
He is.
Sorry, I was going to say we have the Earthshot Prize, and I just love that. By the way, I hope they're coming out with the update on that because his voice and the way he narrates that is fabulous.
Isn't it? Absolutely. And also they're going to be well, it's Duke of Cambridge and other people will be with you in the States, I think, coming up shortly, and roughly October time, I believe. I need to look into that. And that would be giving out Earthshot Prize awards. So I'm sure we'll have more information to share shortly. So that's good.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear more about that. Where in the States? Is it New York?
I think it's New York. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure it's New York.
Thank you. Ian, you were going to add something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that there's a lot happening in Britain at the moment, obviously, and you may have heard about it in America about Boris Johnson, first of all, and who's our present Prime Minister. And I underline that fact because we're not sure how much longer he's going to be here. He went through really a session last Monday to see whether or not he would still be supported by members of Parliament, Conservative members of Parliament. And then we've also had this debacle over the past few days regarding people who are trying to cross the channel illegally. And now the Home Office in Britain are trying to send these people to Rwanda for just seeking to find out whether they are actually able to sort of receive some sort of recognition, rather than just being seen as symbolic people just trying to make a living for themselves in Britain. So it started off that there was a plane hired for £500,000 2 days ago to take the first 31 at one stage people to Rwanda, for checks on whether they should be allowed anywhere into the countries, or even staying in Rwanda itself. And eventually, through all the different high courts that we have in Britain, in the end, it was ruled last night that zero amount of people went on the first flight, and so there wasn't a first flight as such. So it just goes to show at the moment that politics still prevails in Britain quite a bit at the moment, and it's an interesting time for the royal family. But with the politics that I do as well, it's an interesting time of politics as well.
Thank you so much, Ian. Janetta, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I mean, Rwanda, of course, is right next to where I come from. And it's an amazing country. I'll give them that. You could fry an egg on the pavement in Rwanda. So it's a pretty cool country to end up in. But it does feel like such a conflicting set of circumstances in sending them there. And I understand it's to stop any more people from just coming over to Britain. But I think it's quite contentious. And how they will be received and treated when they get there is my concern.
That's right. And on the day of the flight yesterday, another 430 refugees came across the channel. So in reality, will it stop people coming across? I mean, I have great sympathy for a lot of these people because they're coming from countries where there are war zones. So I get why they want to come across at the same time. But these warlords that are illegally getting them across and causing a lot of deaths as well, let's be honest, this is not the safest way of getting across the channel at the best of times, especially at this time of year when there's a lot of traffic. It's one of the biggest thoroughfares for large shipping in the world, the English Channel. And for them to be coming across from France doing this at the moment, it's very, very dangerous as well. And the problem now is that apparently if adults are bringing children with them as well, then apparently they won't be sent to Rwanda. So it's making these people smugglers insist that children come onto the vessels at the same time. So it's causing all sorts of problems in Britain right now. And it's something that you'll probably hear a lot more about in your news programs as well. As decisions are made about how to actually deal with something like this.
Can I just add as well, just wanting to say, because it's such a, well, it's vast, isn't it? It needs so much communication to work something out, because of course we cannot have this trafficking of people all the time. And you mentioned in 400, I think it's 444 asylum seekers came over yesterday, but if you think about it, it was good weather and it's great that they got here safely. There are so many awful, tragic situations, as you know, where they don't get here. Yet the people traffickers have got their money. They really don't care. So they're making a fortune. It's absolutely horrendous. I mean, to think that it was 500,000 has already been paid for this flight that didn't go anywhere. But actually it was stopped on a technicality, basically, by the European Court of Law. It was an appeal. So it would be interesting to see how it goes, because something has to be done very, very quickly, is my feeling.
That's right. And I agree with Helena as well. I agree with everyone that something needs to be done. But I suppose as well, at the moment, we gave Rwanda a down payment of 134 million to actually house these people as well. And again, there could be so many high court cases that in the end, this could be thrown out as well as some sort of decision making at the same time. And perhaps we are supposed to be well, we are a very kind country. That I'm not supposed to be. We are a very kind country. If you look at how much support we have given to Ukrainians, how much money was raised. Over 350,000 homes were opened up to Ukrainians as well. So we are a very kind country at the same time. And is there a better way? Is there a better way of dealing with these people and allowing these people to come legally into the country? And when I look at it personally, it's really more of a political decision rather than a humanitarian decision. And even sort of the main high end of bishops in this country, including the Archbishop of Canterbury and allegedly Prince Charles as well, saying this is an inhumane way of dealing with the issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we're dealing with some of that here in this country as well. So I think there needs to be some kind of process that is inviting and also restricting in some ways.
You see, I think, I mean, basically at the moment, we have a labour issue where we've got the highest amount of jobs going for 30 years. And I think it's a 1.4 million jobs that, are available in Britain right now. And it seems that the British people don't want them, don't want these types of jobs. And, for me, if I look at, if you look at the history of Great Britain, we are so many combinations from all over the world in the first place. And the values that all these communities have brought to Britain over the many, many generations, I don't think it's out of the great realms of possibility where we could set up skill centres for these people, because they all want to work. They all want to create an income. They all want to better themselves. A lot of them, have medical degrees, all sorts of issues and skills that they already have. And if we could create skill centres in Britain, where, yes, they could learn English, better English, where they could be brought in for, say, 6 to 9 months before they're put into the community, and then given a responsibility. I think, for me, Britain is one of the greatest countries in this world. We are one of the kindest countries in this world at the same time. And sometimes I think it's political dogma that is leading this debate at the moment. And I agree, we've got to find better ways of dealing with it and stopping this illegal methods of doing it, because it is killing people. Helena is very right in this whole thing as well. But surely there's a more compassionate way of actually dealing with people when they arrive.
I agree. I think we should have a show on that and invite people who can actually help us figure a way to make it happen.
I think it's great. I mean, I hear to what Ian said about training people and pooling people's skills, because we need it. We need it, and so we could all work together. It becomes this great situation. And I know, and you hit on it a little bit, Ian, where Prince Charles was heard privately talking, and of course, you can't do anything privately in the media, really. Everything's heard, and he was mentioning that the asylum seekers being flown to Rwanda is absolutely appalling. He did say that, and I know it's against royals really to be too political. I also know, I think he's going to be in Rwanda, I think, in the next few days. I think it's a United Nations event somehow, and he wouldn't want anything like this to overshadow the event. I'm pretty sure. That's a different footing, I guess. Gosh, it's one of those subjects, isn't it? It could really thrash it out, and it does. You're right in a way, Dr. Jacqueline. I mean, having a show, etc., because it takes lots of different people to get together and really talk it through, to come up with something sensible, not just a political nonsense, which is really what we're seeing at the minute. I think something a little bit more humane, but something that will help everyone. Yes.
I agree. And you both touched on the kindness. We need more kindness. And you've got your kindness project. So as we come to the end of our show, I'd love for you to give us any updates for people who just joined us from our new radio channel. Tell us about this program.
Do you want to go ahead, Helena, or?
You can talk with where we are, yeah.
Okay. So basically, we're in the process of creating what's known as a CIC in Britain, which is a non-for-profit corporation. And the idea behind it is that we have 3 aims for the project. So the first aim is we've created an idea called the Kindness Card. So the Kindness Card will be distributed to people in need, whether it's people going to food banks, it might be old age pensioners, it may be Ukrainian people coming across. We're particularly just doing it in one sector of London to start off with. And so the idea is that when people get the card, they will actually get better discounts in local shopping malls in northeast London. And we're working with Edmonton Green Shopping Mall, who have got over 200 retailers. And so we're creating a method at the moment where retailers are showing people in need an act of kindness by giving them something a bit more special for the situation that they are in. The second part is that we're working with a company called Let's Localize. And Let's Localize put businesses to schools and schools to businesses right across Britain. And so they have over 600 schools that are part of their organization. So we're introducing kindness with their help into schools in Britain. And the idea behind it is that if a child or a pupil, I should say, shows an act of kindness, they will be given the kindness card. And in the same way, the local retailers that are connected to that school will give them a discount at the same time. And lastly, we're in a connection with a new production studio in London at the moment. And we're hoping to offer, first of all, a show with you, Jacqueline, at the same time. And we're looking at the possibilities of that, but also to actually work with charities and good causes, because a lot of the time charities and good causes can't afford the type of skill bases that Helen and I possess, especially, and the team at the production studio as well. And so what we're hoping that through funding that we may be able to get, that we can either offer low cost or no cost to charities and good causes, and just give them our skill bases to create programming, or even just 5-minute digital sound bites, just to support them and their messaging as well. So that's really the aims of the Kindness Trust. We're going through this corporate process at the moment, which hopefully will be ready by the end of June. Hopefully it should start slowly, but so that we can still see what the operations are like starting from July.
It's quite an exciting project, and I'm really grateful that you're including us in it. So thank you. Helena, anything you'd like to add? And then I'll go over to Janetta.
No, I'm really, I mean, we're very excited and passionate about the whole project. And, you know, I think something that I have done, that we have done now for a long time, and that I enjoy to do, and I think you do as well, Jacqueline, we all do, in fact, as a platform. It's wonderful to educate, inform, and shine a light on inspirational people and charitable organisations, to give a platform and to learn. And I think it's amazing to be able to do that. It's rolling out the kindness, and it. I think everyone receives it and repeats it. It's that ripple effect, and it's so important. And if everyone does a little bit of that each day, we would be such a far better, happier society, I believe.
I definitely agree with you. Janetta, what would you like to add? Kindness.
Yeah, much the same. When you start changing the conversations around people, that's when heart-opening decisions and reactions and actions come out, and they become the order of the day. And it starts with amazing projects like this one. And I mean, we've seen it where sometimes it's gone too much the other way, where it gets a bit too much, where you're treading on eggshells. But we've seen it where starting new conversations about things that weren't even considered before, and what it's done to this country and to the world is nothing short of breathtaking, really. And kindness is really where it starts, because it softens conversations.
Well said, Janetta. Thank you. We have a comment from Adam. Nice to have you with us, Adam. We are powerful human beings. Yes, and so are you, Adam. You and your wife, mental health warriors. All right, as we close out the show for today, any final words anyone wants to share? I'll go around. Janetta?
Just to say that I would like to see more and more people come forward on this platform talking about where their heart really sits. We talk about kindness now, and I'm looking forward to these conversations expanding more and more with time. It's amazing.
Thank you, Janetta. It's really lovely having you here on the platform. And thank you to both of you for all the people that you have brought here. Before we were USA Global TV and Radio, we were rapping with Dr. JACALYN. I think I had a can and a string to Business Talk Radio, and it has just grown exponentially. And I shared this before. We just celebrated 5 months since our launch as USA Global TV, and we didn't have our trademark, which we now do, and we didn't have the radio stations that we have now. So it's growing and growing, and I'm excited. And again, just so grateful to you for everything that you've done, all the mentoring, all the saving me from making horrible decisions. So it means a lot. Who would like to speak next? Helena?
Oh, it's just been a lovely show, and I look forward to lots more shows. I think we've said, well, I've sort of said what I want to say, and thank you to everyone, and let's just keep moving ahead. I think it's great, and I think from an educational point of view as well, I think it's just so important to share knowledge. I think it's and it's very powerful. Something that something today, while I've been researching and things, it's a big thought, it's part of me today. So yeah, thank you everybody. Look forward to next week.
Thank you, Helena. And final word to Mr. Ian Pelham Turner.
I think your channel and your show, you're a catalyst, you're a bridge between two great nations. And the values that I hope both sides of the Atlantic are seeing now is that there is a positive world out there. There is a world of education and future for all generations as well. And you've created something I think that is quite remarkable in the way of a television channel and all the different aspects and the different shows that you bring now as well. And I think it is so important now for a lot more positive programming to happen, the type of programming that you're doing each week. And it gives people a voice, it gives people an opinion, and best of all, it gives people hope. So you have become the hope channel as well.
Aw, thank you. That's so nice to say. I really appreciate it. And we have a follow-up comment from Adam. I can say a lot between education and mindset. Yes. Do you know Adam?
I've heard of Adam. Yes, I'm not sure we've met, but yes, I know he's a mental health warrior. Is that right?
Yes. And he has a follow-up question. People are more aware of their mindset thanks to people, especially the late great legend himself, Philip Sham. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, a little stuck in my throat on that. Yes, we miss him. I still can't believe I interviewed him literally. I think it was the day before he passed away. 2 days before he passed away, he had that eye surgery.
Yeah.
Well, we do miss him.
He's well remembered, and
Yes.
I think the reality, the philosophies, and the values that he brought, you bring now as well. And so, you know, it's an ongoing and well thought through and well loved channel that you have now because of him at the same time.
And he's left such a legacy as well that probably, I mean, I don't want to say this, but I do. The fact that he has passed on that legacy is even deeper because it makes all of us sit down and appreciate what he's done.
Yes, well said. Well said. Well, we're going to wrap up for now. Our next show is Global Homes and Gardens. And joining me is my lovely friend. She is such a sweetheart, and you brought her here, Madeline Chan, who she also, in addition to being a co-host of the film and music show, she and I just co-wrote this song, What Was I Thinking Back Then, that we'll be recording very soon. And I also wanted to share that she works with me as a facilitator on our courses, The Power of Listening. And there's a new course coming out, how you can build your own personal shrine and how connecting with plants, and you'll actually have a plant, you'll have seeds that you'll plant, how that can really help you with your mindset. So she came up with this creative idea. She's a creative genius, and she's helping me with my masculine energy and getting back to my inner child, which I need, because I'm always working in the masculine. The feminine is bye. So she's helping me with that. So thank you again for listening, for watching, for being here. And thank you to our expert correspondents and to my co-hosts. I really appreciate you. And Diane, we hope you're having a great vacation.
Absolutely.
All right. That's all for now. Thanks, Adam. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.